to thy servant. Let thy tender mercies come unto me, that I may live. For thy law is my delight. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause. But I will meditate in thy precept. Let those that fear thee turn unto me, and those that have known my testimonies, let my heart be sound in thy statutes, that I may not be ashamed. I just read Psalms chapter 119, verse 73 through 80. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
A selection from the choir.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Come on, everybody, put your hands together. We thank God for another day that He let us
Hey,
get
Chris, how you
up on
feeling?
this wonderful day. Yes, He brought us down all the days of the week. Wonderful day, the Sabbath day.
So I just kept my favorite sister. How you doing? Mm-hmm. What's up, G? You all right? Well, smile, man. Smile. If you don't smile, I'm gonna beat you up, man. Let me see it. All right, that's what's up.
Hallelujah, Lord Jesus. Oh, brothers and sisters, today is God's holy day.
Seventh day of the week is the Lord's day of rest. The seventh day of the week is the day that He blessed. The seventh day of the week is the Lord's day of rest. Take God's plan into your hand on the seventh day, the seventh day. Peace and love to my brothers and sisters in the church. Oh, many blessings, and we hope your troubles be few. This week has been so long, but now you are here, obeying the Lord that we love and we fear. The seventh day of the week, the seventh day, is the Lord's day of rest. The seventh day of the week, the Sabbath day, is the day that He blessed. The seventh day of the week, the seventh day, is the Lord's day of rest. Take God's plan into your hand on the seventh day, the seventh day. We are true to the fourth commandment with this holy gathering. Scriptures never change. That is why we praise and we sing. We are only keeping with the Lord's future plan. 1,000 years of peace and joy all across the land. The seventh day of the week, the seventh day, is the Lord's day of rest. The seventh day of the week, the Sabbath day, is
Thank you, Jesus. Come on, let's lift his name up high. Hallelujah.
Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high.
Hallelujah.
Mic check. Praise the Lord in Jesus' name. As always, it is a pleasure to stand before you guys to have a blessed Sabbath and present the gospel. Can somebody get us some lessons, please? We need two of them. Otherwise, we're going off the dome. Armageddon. Oh, yeah, I probably could do the Armageddon off the top of my head. I probably could, but it won't be as detailed. Thank you. Armageddon, the final end to Babylon. That's what today's lesson is going to be. Now, you know, in dealing with this, we're really dealing with the end time prophecy, and we're dealing with Armageddon is really the location of where this last battle is going to be. They call it the Battle of Armageddon, but it's going to be in the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Megiddo. These are some of the different names and terms. So this is an actual place where mankind gonna meet to battle. And the thing is, it's like World War III is what it is. And how it's going down right now is the United States is like losing its power to be the world dominant player right now. This is why we bear witness to things like the fall of our banking system, or, you know, we've seen Donald Trump become president. You know, like, and you know, you might be like, what was, he a businessman, true indeed, but you know, It's just letting you know that at this point, things are becoming a joke of this country because really this country is falling. And as this country continues to fall, there's going to be someone or somebody else, some other entity that comes into play to be the world dominant power. And that someone else has always been here. And that's the actual Roman Catholic Church. See, when America was created, it was created as a separation between church and state, meaning that the church doesn't run this state and that they are two different entities. But prior to the United States, that's how things operated in Europe, which is how this country started. So when you were in Europe, if you did something wrong, you could be punished by the church. See, now when you do something wrong, we don't get punished by the church. And to be honest with you, it works pretty good too. I mean, you know, and when I say it works pretty good, like, you know, we was talking about, I've been talking this week about marriage and things of that nature. And if the church was involved, then, you know, when people was committing adultery, you'll be punished. Whereas, you know, and you'll be held more accountable based off of your biblical, you know, beliefs. But then the problem is only one church can run it. And so that's why now it's a state that's ran by a republic and it's not ran by the church. And the laws were established sort of based off of the Bible, but not really. I mean, you're not supposed to steal. That's in the Bible. But, you know, it's a set of laws that, you know, are put in play to try to govern the land, but not from a biblical or spiritual or religious standpoint. Well, as this country continues to fall, then somebody has to come back up or someone will stand up and say that we run it. And that someone would be the Roman Catholic Church. Now you say, really? The Roman Catholic Church? How is the Roman Catholic Church going to say they're going to run this country? Well, what a lot of people don't understand is Rome, the Catholic Church, has been running the world for years on and was running the world before the United States became a country. We became a country about 200 plus years ago, 1700s. If you go in history prior to the 1700s, what you find is you have what's called the Holy Roman Empire. And they were led by different men, and it covered all the space of what we know as Europe. These are Gentiles, white people. White people run the world. As I mean, I'm just sorry. You might, well, the Arabs run the oil. Okay, that's cool. White people run the world. That's why the Gentile or white people is over there in the Middle East. If the Middle East ran theirs, then how come somebody else over there too? You know, you would be keeping them out of there in Jordan and Palestine and all these locations over there where it's controversy and fighting going on. So at any rate, prior to the United States becoming a nation, the world was ran by a church. The church was the Catholic Church, and it ran under the title the Holy Roman Empire. Different men ruled. People like Justinian, and these are people that you find in history. Charlemagne the Great, Charles V, the Fifth. Let me see who else can come to mind. Charles V, Justinian, Otto the Great. I don't know if I said him. Why do I know him? Well, then even Napoleon kind of, but he kind of on the back end, him and Mussolini. And it seems like I'm missing one of the names, but it'll come to me. Did I say Charlemagne? Charlemagne, Charles V, Justinian, Otto the Great, Napoleon, Mussolini. Yeah, that's all of them, really. And then there's one more to come. Yep, that makes 7. No, not Constantine. Constantine is a player, though. Constantine is a player that gave the world Sunday and said it come with Jesus now, you know. So but Constantine is a little early in the game. When Constantine is around, Rome stood as a nation. Whereas after that, Rome fell by these barbaric nations as a government with, you know, as a senate and, you know, where you got Julius Caesar and Augustus. And when I say these names, you say, who are these people? But look at the month of July and the month of August. Like these names are still fabricated into our society today. Okay, but these were kings of that time period. And so therefore, Rome fell, but then it revitalized itself through the church. And that's where you get your crusade periods, when they was trying to take Jerusalem back. And that's key when you look at all of this, because Jerusalem, the Middle East, that is the center port of the world. If you can run the world from Jerusalem, then you have access to the Indian Ocean, which is going to take you to the Pacific Ocean. You have access to the Atlantic Ocean. And you're the middle, everything has to run through you. Now, Rome, its headquarters has been in Italy all these years. So the way this go down and the way this play out is Rome is going to decide, the Holy Roman Empire, as the United States continues to fall, are going to decide that they want to rule the world and that they don't want to just rule it from Italy anymore. They want to rule it from where it should be ruled. They understand where it should be ruled from. They want to sit in the city of the great king. Now, on the other side of that city, you got some Arabs. These Arabs ain't trying to hear what the Roman Catholic Church got to say. The Arabs been fighting the Catholic Church for years. This is where all your crusades. Your crusades started in, I want to say 900 AD, but I'm gonna tell you what they are. And then it went on like 1,000, and then 1200 AD was like the end of them. Now what the crusades are is the Catholic Church says, look, we want the Holy Land. And what we'll do is if you go and fight, we win, you get land. But we want it. The church wants that land. We'll also give you other land. Land is very important, especially when, we're looking at a time where it ain't all civilized all over the place. Whatever riches you find, you can have all of that. But get them Arabs, them heathens out of this land in the name of Jesus. And if you die, you got a one-way ticket to heaven. This is what, whoever you are, this is what the crusade period was about. Okay, and it was a battle for Jerusalem. And the reason that this is important in this conversation about Armageddon is because when we take it to the end, it's still about a battle for Jerusalem. So the Arabs always been contrary to the Catholic Church in Rome. So, but the Arab has an ally right now. The ally is Russia, China. So what we have now is when you look at a map, you got the East versus the West. And what Armageddon is all about is that the East and the West, they're gonna meet up to fight. But the thing that people don't understand, they're gonna fight for something that's not theirs, and what's gonna end up happening is the Lord gonna return, and he gonna take it. And this is why we won't have the nuclear war to destroy this world. Like when I was coming up, I grew up in the Cold era, the Cold War era. What the Cold War was not at any moment the United States and Russia could hit a button and we could nuke each other. It was programmed to be a real threat in our mind. That's where, you even had movies, all kind of stuff. I mean, it was just programmed that Russia was the enemy, or actually it wasn't Russia then. It was the Soviet Union was the enemy. And, at any moment, World War III gonna go down. And there were some instances where we were pretty close. Cuban Missile Crisis during the John F. Kennedy period. I mean, we was close. They even made movies showing where submarines, one of my favorite movies called Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington. And it was like, they just hit a nuke and they about to hit the button. And the argument is we didn't get the confirmation. Because if we do this, this is World War III. Well, brothers and sisters, the Bible is letting us know World War III doesn't really exist until Jesus comes back. He gonna come back to take the world. So we ain't got to worry about another world war on the stage that we saw in Europe in the 1940s. Okay, now we're gonna still have wars. We've been having them, and we're gonna read that today. But we're not gonna see another world war until we get to what we call Armageddon. So the title of today's class is Armageddon, the final end to Babylon. Now Babylon is this system that we in. That's Rome. I could have just said the final end to Rome, but we'll understand that as we continue to go. So hopefully it'll move well enough to keep our attention and we'll get some understanding about Armageddon, the final end to Babylon. So we're going to start this lesson in Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24 is our coming of the Lord chapter. Matthew chapter 24, and when you get there, go ahead and read.
And he,
These look like they've both been drinking out of, huh?
this one.
Sister Raquel, if you don't mind, could you grab me one of those waters? There should be like a water bottle in there. Somebody stole mine. I had a water bottle with my name on it. I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. But go ahead, Matthew 24, and let's pick it up at verse 3. When you get there, go ahead.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives,
He, as in Jesus, that's where we are right now. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, go ahead. Thank you.
the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus
So
answered
notice
and-
what's going on in this chapter. He said, as they sat on the Mount of Olives, he was like, well, tell us what should the end of these things be. And what is the, he say, they asking the question here, and tell us when should these things be? And because what things is, he's saying that this temple was going to get destroyed. And tell us, and what should be the sign of thy coming? So like your return and the end of the world. My phone was too dead. That's why I didn't put mine on there. And the end of the world. So, and I think somebody broke that. So it kind of remind me to replace it. It's still a work, but I think somebody kind of broke it a little bit. So in the end of the world. So this is what we're looking at, and this is why we're here, okay? Go ahead, verse 4.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
So when you begin to look at the end of the world, the first thing you want to make sure is that ain't nobody just deceiving you. And the way that you find out if somebody's deceiving you or not is if they can read and prove what it is that they're talking about. You know, I remember when I was coming into the Word, I thought that the Lord was going to be back in 2004. I couldn't prove it. Somebody always gave me a number. This other brother gave me a number. And it didn't come to pass. Everybody the rapture came based off the fact that somebody gave a number. William Crowley, I think his name was, gave a number and he didn't come. And then next thing you know, he said, well, he'll be back next year. And he didn't come back next year either. And then he said, well, the Lord could come back any day now. This is what William Crowley, and three things we commonly know came from that movement: the Seventh-day Adventists, the Jehovah's Witness, and the rapture. That all started in the mid-8th, is it William Crowley or William Miller? I think that was his name. I think William Crowley, I think that's another name. I got all these names in my head like I know these people or something. But at any rate, so that is what the Advent movement started and the rapture, because people been saying that somebody was going to come back. Okay? So the first thing he told us, Jesus answered and said, don't let nobody deceive you. All right? Go ahead.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
So, I look at that two different ways, but I definitely would say people going to come saying that he is the Christ, but going to deceive people. Because it says, I am Christ, and the person that's talking is Jesus, okay? But go ahead.
And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled.
Right, and we've been going through wars. We're going to see wars, rumors of wars. Don't let these things bother you. You know what I mean? Like, don't think it's the end of the world now because this is a horrible war that's about, like Vietnam, that was a bad war. See, and I say it was a bad war is because we had never seen war. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this actually lets you see the war that was going on. You just heard about from the propaganda that came back from Europe. Now it became a little more involved. And so that really, the Vietnam War is probably the ugliest war that the American people will see. See, war ain't even fought like that no more. That was the last of the wars in the trenches. Like now we go over there, we drop bomb here, everything's so strategic. So, you know what I'm saying? War done changed. Okay. So at any rate, he says, but he said you should hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Go ahead.
For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
Yes, sir.
And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
So in all these places, diverse or diverse, like the brother saying, different places. You're going to have earthquakes and famine. These are all the signs that Jesus is coming back. All right, because a lot of people want to tell you, you know, we're going to get raptured up into heaven and that's where we're going to be while the world going through hell. No, we're going to bear witness to earthquakes in diverse places. Just like, you know, it amazes me that over the last 20 years, I ain't never know, like, okay, so I'm over 40, just a little bit. So we're going to split my life up into two, 20 and 20. These last 20 years, I ain't never seen more natural disasters, hurricanes, forest fires, just all kind of new diseases, all this, than I saw in my first 20. Like, you know, so it's escalating. It's just continuing. Like, AIDS didn't exist when I was born. AIDS all of a sudden come in the mid 80s. All of a sudden it's a new disease. You know, they had started telling us about VD, but then all of a sudden they started telling us about STDs, and one of them was AIDS. You know, and this one killed you. Even though I still ain't met nobody who died of it, just to let you know. I've even known people who had it and they done been cured. Now, I'm not saying people don't die from it. I'm just saying, it just make you wonder sometimes when they tell you that you're going to die from a disease. It's interesting. But at any rate, as the Lord returned, he said you got kingdoms going against kingdoms, and there should be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in different places. All right, go ahead.
All these are the beginning of sorrow.
Right, he said, but this stuff just the beginning. This the jump off. Go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation.
He said, well, when you see the abomination of desolation. Wait a minute, hold on. What did you do?
I just went to the next.
No, but now how you gonna go to the next without telling me?
I mean, it's on the paper.
But you just jumped to the next one though. Like you know that comment that we stopped. You ain't gotta jump. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. And these should deliver you up. Well, okay, that's cool. I guess so. Yeah, but this time wait on me though, man.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna skip down to verse 15. And when you get there, go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand.
All right, so that's hilarious. You're the first person I ever known to do that. But it's cool though. It was so innocent too. I'm just, what you need? My phone ain't working. It's like 30%. Good luck. All right, good luck. All right, so at any rate, there you go. But see, you gotta take that off too. So good luck. That's why I say good luck, because it don't fit on there normal. So at any rate, I'm sorry. So he said, when you should therefore see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place. So when you see the abomination of desolation that's gonna stand in the holy place is the Antichrist. And the holy place is Jerusalem. Okay? And this is the sign that sets everything off to say, man, it's the end. Here come Jesus. All right? Now, wrong lesson. Keep reading, I think, yeah.
Then let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains. Let them which is on the housetop not come down.
And you know, I always would think like, man, we in America, this is weird. But the thing about it is you don't know where you're gonna be when the abomination of desolation take off. You really don't. Because, and I always use this as an example, but it don't take but one day and one moment in time to change life as you know it. You know what I'm saying? And I always reflect back to what took place at the 9/11. When I'm tired, like, I remember that morning. I remember getting up, I know what I was doing. I was taking my niece to the children's doctor. And I'm like, this is a joke. When I'm sitting in the lobby and I'm watching this, tower hit. Now, I was blessed enough to travel before this went down. And I remember going to the airport to the extent that from a child, my parents walked me all the way to the gate, to the fact that I could come pick you up from the gate. And when I mean the gate, y'all might not know, especially some of y'all newer people. I'm talking about we really actually walked into the airport all the way to where the plane was. It wasn't all this checking. I mean, you just walk through the scanner. It wasn't all this, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's something serious, but all this happened because of one day. I mean, it changed It changed so many things in this country. Just one day, one minor event, actually. An event that most of us done forgot. They done blowed up a tower or two, which make me wonder about that. So I say, well, it doesn't take a whole lot to change what happens in our lives to be different than what we know it to be today. So therefore, I can't say that we're gonna be here in America and America's gonna stand strong. Like that's fool's gold. I don't know what's gonna happen to this country. All I know is if I'm in Judea, based off the Bible, I get up out of here. See, the Lord has given us the signs and things so that we are able to know how and the way that he's going to make his return. So even if I'm not in Judea at that point, there are other things that we may take a look at to let us know, here come the Lord. That's why we big on this, what's the red heifer thing. What is that? The red heifer is something they got to use to make a sacrifice with in order to, the priest sacrifice. See, what a lot of people don't know is Edom is trying to reinstitute the priesthood that's in the Bible. But the problem is, Mr. Vicarious Philadelphia, AKA the Vicar of Christ, the replacement of Christ, the Pope, he like, why is you sacrificing the God? That's over with. I'm here. I'm in the stand, the intermediary between you and God. And so he gonna put a pause on that, and all this stuff is here. They trying to build a temple over there in Jerusalem. Them Arabs, they like, you ain't building no temple right here, where we done set this dome up with this rock in it. Like, you ain't about to build one right here. Well, they like, no, that's where the temple used to be. So we're gonna see all of that. But this is what's going on like right now. What I'm telling you, you might say, well, that stuff, we not reading that stuff you talking about. It's like, just go watch the news sometime. Go watch some international news. Get out the, I like local news, to be honest with you, because I want to know what's going on around here. I already know what's going on over there. But I'm just saying, sometimes we got to get out the local, to get out the regular stuff and go see what's going on in Europe and stuff, because the world is just bigger than us. So at any rate, he said, verse 16, let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is in the housetop not come down, take anything out of his house. Go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. So
yeah, because what we talking about is going on is if you got child and you giving suck, that's something you got to worry about. I be watching these movies, right? I just watched the Predator. That's the one I seen lately. But I was watching these movies and people be on the run from different stuff. And I just be like, damn, like I'm on the run and I got Danny in my arms. This ain't finna work. Right. You know what I'm saying? He can't run. But when I say this can't work, because when he get hungry, it don't matter if it's two bad guys with two AK-47s standing around, right around the other wall. He gonna start yelling, talking about he hungry. Or he gonna say, dad, all that. Like he ain't comprehended, like, we about to die. You know what I'm saying? And if I put my hand on his mouth, he gonna either start thinking we playing, or he gonna start yelling some more. And you understand what I'm saying? Like, they have no clue. Then when they get a little bigger, like Korean, I'm like, you can't run. I can say run, but you can't run. You can't keep up. And it don't work. You can't ride the dog. That don't work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so I understand when he said, pray that you don't have, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck. That means they, when he come close to the return of the Lord, and you going through these issues, this is going to be something that hurts you a little bit. Plus, if you got a child, and a lot of people don't know, what they say, a leopard don't change his spots. Rome, when you don't do what they want you to do, they kill you. Like, for example, like the witches that we know about, like the Salem witch hunt and all that, that's the church doing that. Or the Spanish Inquisition. I don't know if y'all ever heard of the pit and the pendulum. That's the thing, and it be swinging like this and be swinging back and forth, and it keep going down. And somebody wrote a book about it, and they wrote a book about the Spanish Inquisition. But what the Spanish Inquisition was, it was the Roman Catholic Church, basically killing people in the name of Jesus. And they Jesus, though. So when I say a leopard don't change his spots, I'm saying that when we get to the end, they'll be prepared, if you don't do what they say, to kill you, to take your life. And it won't be something new. Go ahead, keep reading. What verse?
Verse 20.
Uh,
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath
So
day.
in the future, the Sabbath day is still relevant because we're talking about the coming of the Lord. He say, make sure that your flight out of here is not on the Sabbath. Go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation.
Because that's what we head into, the great tribulation that a lot of people try to say we're going to get raptured. And rapture mean that people try to say we're going to leave this place and go up to heaven, which is, we're never going up to heaven. We have a 0% chance. While we're here on earth right now, and you know, when Jesus set up his kingdom for us to go to heaven. Now, you know, after Jesus' kingdom and the Father get here, I don't know what the heck we're gonna do. So I'm not gonna put it out there. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm asking the Lord, and I go see some of them other galaxies you was talking about. You know, but even still, that ain't going up to heaven. All right. So, but at any rate, we gonna deal with this great tribulation though. See, they make movies and books about the fact that you ain't got to do that, but they're lying. But go ahead, keep reading.
Such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be.
Right, he said it's going to be the worst time period, so it's going to be worse than everything we've already talked about, worse than World War II, or the Vietnam War, worse than your Salem witch hunts, than your Spanish Inquisitions, so on and so forth. This is going to be the worst time ever. All right, what verse are we at? Let's skip down to verse 25.
Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore they shall say unto you, behold, it is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
So as we see the coming of the Son of Man, we gonna see it just like we see lightning, and you definitely see that. Okay, so he said we're gonna see it just like we see lightning, and he said wherever the carcass is, that's where the eagle's gonna be. Why is we talking about carcasses? Because there's gonna be a lot of dead bodies. See, by the time the Lord, the funny thing is when the Lord come back, Armageddon over with already. All right, like Armageddon is the meetup, and we're gonna see it is the meetup between the East and the West. The Lord gonna settle that score. Actually, He gonna come back and destroy the players of the West, Rome. Okay, what verse are we at?
29.
Go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
All right, so he said, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And so what we're seeing is something catastrophic, like we seeing something we ain't never seen before after the tribulation. Then he said, and there shall appear a sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds in heaven with power and great glory. So we're going to actually see the Lord, no secret rapture. The world be trying to make it seem like a secret is happening. Go ahead, keep reading.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other.
All right, that's good. That's good. You having problems with that phone, ain't you? Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. That's what I tried to tell you. And now you got to cut the power off. You got to do all kinds. That's what I tried to tell you. You might want to use somebody else's phone to do that. Let me get my phone back, because you're going to keep running up on troubles with it. Just do it from yours, and we'll just put it where it need to go or something. Yeah, it was a couple people looking at it, too. Dang. Oh, well, maybe they'll find it on yours. You share it on my page, though, because there was some people looking at it who don't even, they probably was a little interested. They don't even be in the Word. You know, you get to talking about that end time stuff, and everybody want to know. Then you start telling people to keep the commandments, they don't want to hear nothing you got to say. But it's all good, though. I appreciate who was looking, who was watching. Hopefully, y'all can make sure y'all put it on my page, man. So maybe some of them people would catch it. Let's go to Daniel chapter 7 now. So now, again, the lesson is Armageddon, the end of Babylon. So one of the things that we're going to touch on as we see this Armageddon is we got to put everything together so we can understand what's going on. So what we're going to do now is introduce one of the players that is going to be in this battle for the world. Because that's basically what we're talking about, World War III. World War III. So we're going to go to Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. And let's pick this up at verse 1. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream.
All right, so that tell you what time we getting this at. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, the Bible does that a lot. So it's the first year of King Belshazzar. So he the king of Babylon. Daniel gonna have a dream, right? Go ahead, keep reading.
And visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. So
he saw four winds of heaven, and they gonna stroll on the great sea. I'm going, and can one of y'all brothers hand me a black marker out that sound room, maybe one I was using earlier, because all we got is brown. But one thing, it said coming off the great sea, so I'm just going to let you know that the sea is going to represent people. It's going to represent, the people today. All right? All right, just so you know. I think that's how you make that, yeah. So that's what that is. So he said he saw four winds. He said four winds, right?
Yeah.
All right, we saw four winds. So we're going to understand these four winds today. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, keep going.
And four great beasts came up from the sea.
All right, so he said from out of the sea came four beasts, okay? Four beasts came from out of the sea, or from amongst the people. And we talking about the people, we talking about the people of the earth. So it's going to be, this is a dream he had. And he said that he saw four beasts come from this sea. Keep reading.
Diverse one from another. The first was like a lion.
So he said the first beast, he saw, it was like a lion. What else?
And had eagle's wings.
With eagle's wings, okay? Eagle wings. All right. Oh, Lord, am I spelling that wrong today? It don't matter. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it was raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
All right, so from the four beasts, one was a lion with eagle's wings. Another was a bear with three ribs, and he told him when he got to this one, he said, "Go kill a lot." All right, devour much flesh. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put up here who these all are. And this first one was Babylon. This second one is the Medes, and we're gonna learn this more, and the Persians. Go ahead, Brother Jacob. He reads.
After this, I beheld.
And I know my writing might be small. What a lot of people like to do, I'm going to try to keep this up as much as I can, is you come take a picture of it or something. You know what I'm saying? Or write it out yourself. You know, it's a lot of paper. You know, when we do these lessons, it's a lot of paper. You got a whole front and the back. You can use it. But so the first beast he saw was a lion with eagle's wings. The second beast he saw that came from amongst the people or from the sea was a bear with three ribs, and this is, and I'm showing who it represents, but we're going to learn more as we keep going. Go ahead. What verse are we at?
Verse 6.
After
this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl. The beast had also four heads, and dominion was given to it.
All right, so we got a four-headed and four-winged beast, leopard, right? And that actually gonna represent Greek. The Greeks. The Greeks. Yeah, I guess we put it, the Greeks. So he got 4 heads because the greatest ruler of Greece was Alexander the Great. His father was Philip the Macedonian, okay? And he ruled and ruled the whole world. What we learn about each one of the lion, the bear, and the leopard, or Babylon, the Medes, and the Persians, and the Greeks, they ruled the known world, all right? Like they knew, like when you go look, you know, when you learn about this stuff in your history class, but they ruled the western side of the world, okay? So Alexander the Great, when he died at such an early age, because he conquered pretty much all of the Mediterranean area, which is where Africa and Europe meet. That's called the Mediterranean area, all right? And then he went and ruled it all the way through the Middle East, going all the way through Pakistan and all that, all the way over to India. So basically, if you was to look at a map of the world, at that point, he ruled the world. But he ruled the center part of Europe and or of the Eastern Hemisphere. He ruled the whole center, because that was pretty much the known civilized world, okay? So where are we now?
Verse 7.
Read 7.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it.
All right, now it said we saw another beast, and he had iron teeth, and he stamped and stumped on everybody, and he was different from all that were before it. Now, what makes him so different is, what verse did you start at, 7?
At the end of 7.
After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. Like, notice what it's saying about, like, this beast is different because he has nobody that comes after him. See, when you look in history, Babylon started off, Nebuchadnezzar and all them, and then next thing you know, the Medes and the Persians came in and smacked them across the head and took over, okay? And when you see things, we've heard of things, Persia, like for example, don't they got like rugs, like Persian rugs or something like that? Yeah, so, and I say that because I'm just trying to show you how these things have fabricated themselves into our lives, even though this was before Christ, okay? Then, after the Medes and the Persians, Alexander the Great came, and he destroyed the Medes and the Persians and everything in its way. But then Alexander the Great's kingdom splits up into 4 kingdoms, and out of one of those kingdoms arises a great kingdom, the Roman kingdom. And the thing about Rome is, it's still around. Now you might say, well, I mean, they ain't got no Caesars and they not ruling out of Rome. Well, we're gonna learn today, it ain't always quite what you think, because it is still here, and they do still have kings. So at any rate, did you read, what verse are you at now?
At the very end of 7.
All right, did you finish it?
No.
Okay, go ahead, yeah. So,
And it had 10 horns.
so here's something else about this terrible beast. It had an iron teeth and 10 horns. Go ahead.
I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
So it had 10 horns that end up going down to 7 horns. And a man came out from amongst them horns. And them horns is kings and kingdoms. And the man that comes from amongst them, that's going to come out of, and it's all sits on Rome, he's the actual Antichrist. That's all of what we just saw. Now I'm going to tell you, I know I say this, I'm telling you what's going on, and it might not be that easy to follow. Number one, you can watch it again. That's why I'm saying it, because it's available on YouTube, Lord willing. That's why I'm saying it and talking through it, and then continue to add on it. But plus, the more you hear it, the more it's going to flow in your mind anyway. You know what I'm saying? The more work you put into it, the more you'll understand what we're talking about. That's the bottom line. But you got to start somewhere. So I know I'm going through the quick history lesson, but I will tell you, Nashan, and I don't see your sisters, and but you're going to learn this in school. You're going to learn each one of these. You're going to see the Babylonians going to rule at some point. Then you're going to see the Medes and the Persians. They ain't going to talk about this one so much. They're going to talk about Persia a little more than the Medes. Then they definitely going to talk about the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? That's where you get your Greek gods from. But see, let me tell you, the Medes and the Persians, this is where we get that god Mithra. This is how we deal with Christmas. This is where that came from. Okay? Then, you know, like I said, with the Greeks, you get all your philosophers. You're going to learn about them, your Plato's, your Aristotle's. The Greek way of thinking is the way our society thinks today. Mm-hmm. That's why when you go to school, you have what they like to call the Greek fraternities. Okay? And then Rome run it to this day. Our religion comes from Rome. You know, the whole Christian society. When you get in school, that's all you're going to learn in history. When you take world history, it's going to be all about Rome. You're going to learn about serfs, and you're going to learn about different types of caste systems and noblemen and all this kind of stuff. This is what Rome had throughout the year. The reason I'm saying all this is because Rome never fell. So even though you're going to start off with Julius Caesar when you're in school, and Augustus and Octavius and all these, you know, these Roman names, but then they're going to tell you it's over for Rome. And at around 400 AD, Rome fell. And, you know, a country, what they say, a nation that doesn't remember its past is doomed to relive it or something. And they compare Rome and they say this is what's going to happen to us. You know, these are the things you're going to learn in history. But the problem is Rome didn't leave. When you look up Justinian, who you gonna learn about in school now, Sean, when you take history? When you look up Charlemagne, who you gonna learn about in school when you take history, world history? When you see, it's just white Wikipedia, they're gonna be like, ruler of the Holy Roman Empire. Like how they ruled under this title still. And that's why it was a dreadful and terrible beast that had 10 horns, and then 3 of the horns was plucked out and 7 more, because these are different kings that it's talking about. And we're going to learn some of these kings. And then we just saw where one king came from out of this horn. All right. What verse are we at, Jacob?
Verse 9.
All right. Did we finish 9?
No, we didn't get to it yet.
Keep reading.
That's where we at.
Well, 8, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in his horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Now watch this. Go ahead.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
So notice, Daniel saying he watched until their thrones were cast down, and then the Ancients of Days sat. So what we're saying is, it's going to be lion, bear, leopard, terrible, then ancient. Oh, Lord, I know I'm screwing that up. Yeah, whatever. Of days. Okay? So if we were to put a time on it, and now don't quote me on the time, but let's say around 600 BC, please don't quote me on the time. Then let's say around 500 BC. Then let's say around 400 BC, and then let's say around 200 BC is when each one of these came into play. So that means, well, Rome was here when Jesus was here, and really they fall around 400 AD. But they don't really fall because of these 10 horns and these 7 horns. They stay alive through different people, okay? So this Rome gonna be here until the Ancient of Days. That's Jesus. I'm about to put Christ up there, but same thing. So Jesus will be the last in this dream. He's still looking at a dream. Remember that now. He's still watching the dream, and that's the interpretation of the dream, okay? I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancients of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. And his throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels are as a burning fire. Let's jump down to verse 17.
These great beasts, which are 4 and 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass.
So he breaking down this. We say this beast right here had iron teeth, nails of brass. This was a strong beast. Go ahead.
Which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet.
Uh-huh.
And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows.
Go ahead.
I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom.
Okay, so what it's saying is this little horn that's going to come out from amongst them, man, he was watching until basically this little horn, it said, and the 10 horns that were in his head, and I'm at verse 20, and of the other which came out, and before him 3 fell, even of that horn had eyes. So like one of these horns had eyes, it was a person. Then the mouth speaking very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellow. So he going to ultimately be the king. You got to remember, this is a dream that he's having. Okay, he's having a dream, and he's seeing these things, okay? And then I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. So this horn, this little horn that's coming from Rome is going to make war with the saints and prevail against them. This is your great tribulation that we're talking about, okay? What verse?
Verse 25.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm back. I'm still here. 22. And I beheld the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. How long? Until the Ancient of Days came. So again, this all goes here. Okay, verse 23. Thus, did you read 23?
No. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
Keep going.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
So this is a person. He gonna speak great words against the Most High. This last king. That's why he's called the Antichrist. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, in the dividing of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the judgment
That's
shall...
good, that's good. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 27. Jeremiah chapter 27. Jeremiah chapter 27. And we're going to read verse 5 through 8. Now, one of the things when you read the Bible, you begin to understand that Daniel, he actually read Jeremiah's writing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see what some of the stuff that Jeremiah did. And another thing that you'll begin to understand when you read the Bible is that it's timed basically within some period. And most of it, well, not most of it, but like the writings of Jeremiah are in this time period, while we was in the Babylonian time period. And then the Medes and the Persians, Daniel actually lived through both. He's at the end of the Babylonian, and he goes into the Medo-Persian period. The Apocrypha, for those of us that, know extra other stuff and think that's special, sits here in this Greek time period, okay? That's where your Antioch Epiphanes and all that stuff take place. The Maccabees, all this stuff. Then Jesus is in this time period. That's why you got a book of Rome, or a book, a book writing to the Rome. They was the ruling class. That's why Pontius Pilate was Rome. Okay, so at any rate, so we go into Jeremiah 27. Let's pick this up in verse 5. When you get there, go ahead.
I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power and my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me.
So this is the Lord talking. The Lord said, I made the earth and I give who I want to give the world to. Go ahead.
And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar.
So he's talking, he's saying, and I'm going to give all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, go ahead.
King of Babylon,
Uh-huh.
my servant. And the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him.
And what it's saying, all the nations are going to serve Babylon. And we're going to understand this, meaning that's why when we get into the Bible, it says Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, because everybody's under the banner of Babylon. The Babylonian system is what we call it sometimes. Go ahead.
And his son and his son's son, until the very time of his land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith the Lord, with the sword and with the famine and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand.
So what he's saying is, if you don't want to deal with Babylon, then it's going to be a problem. All right. Now let's go over to Daniel chapter 7 real quick. We're going back to the right, another book over, Daniel, or 2 books over, Daniel 7. We're going to read verse 7 and 8. You get there, go ahead.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and beheld, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
So now we're about to focus on him and who he actually is. So let's go over to chapter 8 now. Daniel chapter 8, and this is what this is going to cover. Y'all okay? All right. I know it's a bit much, but not really. The more you hear it, you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it as plain as possible, but these are some of the things that's in the Bible. And they're not too big for us. See, I thought when I was coming up, because my church had all these extra Bible classes, I thought this was that Tuesday morning class with Pastor Evans and my granddaddy and a couple of the other deacons. This was only for them to understand. And then he'd come home with his book, you know, Great Controversies or whatever book that's written, you know, to help them understand it. And really, all I needed was a little history lesson, you know, about the course of time in the Bible. And I figured this out. This wasn't hard. I'm like, man, I thought all this deep stuff in here, all this rapture, all that, you know, they had it so high-tech and deep on me that it makes us afraid to try to figure this stuff out. But it's not difficult. All we're talking about is who run the world. And we're starting off with a powerful nation, Babylon, and it's going to run you all the way to the Lord. Once we get to Rome, then Rome run it in different type of ways. That's all we're talking about right now. So now we're going to look at Rome and how it runs it. You know, who going to ultimately be the head of it when the Lord come back. Daniel 8, let's pick it up in verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
In the 3rd year of the reign of Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first.
So he's like, man, I had another vision, like the time I had before. Go ahead.
And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns.
All right, so now we got a ram and he got 2 horns. Go ahead.
And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last.
Go ahead.
I saw the ram pushing westward.
So this ram had 2 horns and it had one horn that was higher than the other. All right. So I'm gonna tell you what this ram is. This ram is the represent the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. And that's why I had two horns. And the Persians is more known than the Medes. So, or was the predominant ruler of that. Therefore, that's why one came up over the other. What verse are you at?
Verse 4.
So he said, and I saw the ram pushing, oh, you hadn't read that. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Go ahead.
And I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great.
Go ahead.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground.
So now a he-goat coming, and he ain't touched the ground. So, it's a goat, and he ain't touching the ground. All right, keep reading.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Right, he had one horn between his eyes. Go ahead.
And he came to the ram that had two horns,
Right.
which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power.
So he ain't touching the ground, and he coming at this ram in the fury of his power. Go ahead.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram and brake his two horns.
So this he-goat smashes this ram, breaks his two horns. So what's going on here is this he-goat, this actually is Greek, the Greeks. All right. So this chapter 7 up here, and this chapter 8 right here. All right, just so you know. All right. So this he-goat gonna come in, he gonna smash him, like beat up the Medes and the Persians. That's what you're reading about right now. Go ahead.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Go ahead.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up for the notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
So he said that this one horn, read that verse again, bro. What verse are you at?
Verse 8.
So, no, I'll read it. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very strong. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken and came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. Right. Because, again, when you go do your research, and the only reason that I didn't provide all this information today is because then we'd be doing a 4-hour class, because I already teach this pretty long. And I didn't want to do us like that. But this he-goat, this horn breaks up into four horns. All right. And just like we saw over here with the Greeks, it had four heads and four wings. Now this he-goat, it breaks up to four horns. Go ahead.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn.
Right now, and it said it went through the four winds of heaven. So what's happening is the four winds of heaven, it's saying that it went through all the earth. All right, but out of one of these spots on the earth was Rome sitting. And because when Alexander the Great died, it got split up with his four generals. The world did. I think their names are Ptolemy, Cassandra, Seleucus, and what's the other one? Lysimachus. Yeah, there we go. Well, say it again, Chris. Lysimachus. Okay, yeah, what he said. Right. So them the four that they split up into. And one of them, I think Cassandra's. Not sure, it doesn't matter. You can look all this up though. But one of them is where Rome was. So when he say these four horns break up, one of these horns is like it went into the four winds of heaven. We're just gonna say north, south, east, and west. So it went to the four winds of heaven, where Rome over here somewhere. Okay? And so one of the horns went over here, and what happened with it? What verse are we at?
Verse 9.
So he said, and I beheld till the Ancient of Days were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as a burning fire. Go ahead.
Verse 9.
No, I just read 9. No, I didn't. I read chapter 7. Why you ain't stop me, man?
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you was at.
You should have said where you at, brother JD. You gotta help me, man. I'm gonna help you. Verse, where was that? Verse, okay, here we go. Verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Verse 9. Go ahead.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land.
All right, so out of this came one of these horns. When it broke into 4, one of these horns took over, basically. All right, go ahead.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven.
Say, this bad boy went waxed so powerful all the way to the host of heaven. Keep going.
And it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the hosts. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
So this one person gonna take away the daily sacrifices. One person magnified himself all the way up to God. Go ahead.
And the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Uh-huh. All right, let's go over to verse 17 now. Verse 17. When you get there, go ahead.
So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O Son of Man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision.
So he's telling them that this vision that we're looking at here is about the time of the end. But remember, it takes you to the end when it starts. Like, well, first of all, Daniel lived here. It's Daniel time period. Really, he's still in this, king? He's still in Babylon, but Daniel lived here. And we reading about something that's taking place here. Daniel 8, we'll put that right here. We reading about something that take place between these 2 time periods. Because this transition us from, and we're going to see it in a minute, from the from the Medes and the Persians to the Greeks. And then from the Greeks come Rome, okay? So it's like this for the time to the end to Daniel. Like, this ain't even got nothing to do with you, bro. Because it's going to really take you all the way to the very end. All right, go ahead. What verse?
Verse 18.
Uh-huh.
Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest.
So he's going to say the ram that you saw, what was it?
Having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia.
Right, so that's the Medes and the Persians. Now remember, we were talking about it, he said he saw a vision like he had saw before anyway. But I gave you this information, although it wasn't provided. This time he's telling you it was the Medes and the Persians was that ram. Go ahead.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
And the he-goat is the king of Greece. Is the king of Greece. Go ahead.
And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power.
Go ahead.
And in the latter time of their kingdom, where the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Uh-huh.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall be destroyed wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
Keep going.
And though his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
So we're talking about this little horn. So it said, in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressions are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences stand up. So this is going to be that one horn that come out. And he going to be a fierce king, and he going to understand. He going to basically, we talking about the Antichrist right now. Then it said, and he go when he gets to verse, and through his policy also he should cause craft, like he gonna have a rich craft and prosper in his hand, and he gonna magnify himself in his heart. This is the Antichrist that we're looking at. All right, now let's go over to Revelation chapter 13 now. Revelation chapter 13. Because we talking about Babylon all the way in the end of the book too. I know we only at number 6, but I don't know if it ever moved fast. I ain't even gonna lie. It's gonna move though. Revelation chapter 13, and let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And I stood upon the sand of sea.
So again, remember that the sea in this lesson today is a representation of people, okay? So this is John now. He said he stood on the sands of the sea. Go ahead.
And saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
So look, he said he saw a beast, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. Go ahead.
And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Yeah.
And upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Uh-huh.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Hold on. I want to make sure we get this up here. All right. So he saw a beast, and it had 7 heads and 10 crowns. All right. So that's Revelation 13. 7 head and 10 crowns. All right. And then it said, go ahead. Go ahead, Jacob.
And upon his head the name of blasphemy.
No. So it said he had 7 heads and 10. Oh, okay. And upon his head 10 crowns. And upon his head the name of blasphemy. Okay, go ahead. Verse 2.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
So notice this beast is like a leopard. Go ahead.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Then it had bare feet. Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Then it had a lion mouth. Go ahead.
And the dragon gave him his power.
So notice what it's starting to look like. It said we see leopard, we see bear, we see lion. This is what we see. Then we saw 10 heads, 7 crowns. Then we see 10 horns. Then we see 7 horns. So when John is seeing this beast in Revelation, the Lord is allowing him to be able to understand it's the same beast that you saw, or the beast that we saw in Daniel 7 merged together makes this one beast. Y'all follow me on that? All right, go ahead.
And his seat in great authority, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
Right, he said when he looked, he saw one of the heads, it was wounded to death. Because when we get to the end of this nation, if we merge them, that's what we got, a nation. The Babylonian dynasty, as we can call it. Babylon to the Medes and the Persians, to the Greeks, to the Rome. Where it said, as he looked at this beast, which is what this is this, okay? He said it was wounded, right? Because Rome says 400 AD up here. So it was wounded. Okay, go ahead.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast.
Right, he said, but this beast right here got wounded, and then it was healed, and everybody wondered after the beast. They followed after this beast. Go ahead.
And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto.
So this beast gets his power from the dragon. All right. So that's the thing. You got to really understand what we're breaking down right now. Babylon is this beast. The world we live in is this beast. And this beast that we live in get his power from the dragon. The dragon is Satan. So this world is his world. That's the whole point. I can take you somewhere else where it says Satan is the king of this world. All right. What verse are we at?
Verse 4.
Go ahead.
And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Uh-huh.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Go ahead.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And the power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations.
Go ahead.
And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
Right, so notice it said power was given him over all the kindreds and tongues and nations. Like this person, this beast right here runs the world. But this beast ain't nothing more than this beast. But it's just these beasts were all separate, but instead of him trying to break it all down again, why I gotta do that? I already broke it down once before. I just put them all together and let you know what you see. All right, let's jump down to verse 11. Verse 11, you get there, go ahead.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
So he's still looking, and now, because that first one, that first beast represented this kingdom. But now he gonna take from within inside this kingdom a person. Okay, go ahead.
And he exerciseth all power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come from heaven and on the earth in the sight of men.
Go ahead.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image
So
of
what
the
they
beast.
saying is this man gonna make an image for this beast. All right, so it's gonna be somebody and it's gonna be an image. This is all in chapter 13. All right, image to the beast. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. You lost where you are? All right. Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image that the beast should both speak and cause that many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Go ahead.
And he that sat on, you talking about verse 15?
16 now. And he caused all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and in their forehead. Go ahead.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast.
Go ahead.
For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
All right, that's good. So now we got Revelations 13, and in Revelations 13, we see this beast, and the power came from the dragon, and we get introduced to 666 there. This is the guy that's going to be in the end time days where you got to take this mark or else. So he's at the end, and he's during the Great Tribulation period, okay, when we when we get to the end of that chapter. The one that's when he saw another beast come out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And notice too, it said he had he looked like a lamb, which would be Jesus. He the lamb. Okay. And spake like dragon. That's Satan. Yeah. So y'all attendants, y'all gotta make sure y'all keep that type of stuff under control. That was a little too loud. This was yeah, cause I heard that one. What verse are we at?
Now we at
All right, so now let's go to chapter 17, Revelation chapter 17. All right, Revelation chapter 17. We still dealing with this same order, this Babylon. Because remember we was in chapter 27 of Jeremiah, it said that everybody was gonna serve themselves of this, you know what I mean? Revelation chapter 17 and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven
Vials.
vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
So many waters, just so you know, it's seas. It's still the people. All right. Go ahead, keep reading.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon the scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Uh-huh.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
All right, so he's talking about this the 7 angels, which had 7 vials, we're talking to me about. So it says, I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sit upon many waters. Now, if you remember a couple weeks ago, we was discussing Israel being married to the Lord. All right, well, now you got this other woman on the other side. And really, that's like Israel is God's church, but then you got Rome. And this, the whore, basically. That's what we're getting at. So it says, with whom the kings of this earth have committed fornication. So all the kings of this earth, they done got in bed with Rome, okay? Then it says, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me into the spirit, into the wilderness. I saw a woman sit on the scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So again, we right back here. 7 heads. This here said 10 crowns, but over here it was 10 horns. So again, we still dealing with the same thing here. All right? And watch what else it says. Read verse 5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery.
Right, because it is a great mystery about who this is. But it was written mystery. What else?
Babylon.
Oh, Babylon. No, that don't just say Babylon, do it. No. Read that again. Mystery, comma. Go ahead.
Mystery. Babylon, the great.
You did that junk again. They gonna look like I just said it. So look, it's mystery. Babylon the Great. These are titles that we're reading here. So it's not Babylon, it's Babylon the Great. You follow me? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, keep reading.
Mystery. Babylon the great.
Uh-huh.
The mother of harlots and abominations.
All right, so it's the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. So this is who we got here. This is who this is. It's a mystery, even though we didn't kind of unfolded it. This is Babylon the Great. She's the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. So everything that we got came from this. I'm talking about St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, New Year's, what else? What other? Halloween, going to church on Sunday, whatever, going up to heaven, so on and so forth. Whatever wicked come, and I mean wicked, I mean Antichrist, come from this. It's a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots. When they call her the mother of harlots, because all the other churches like fall up under that. She's the mother of them and the abominations of the earth. All right. What verse are we at now?
Verse 7.
Are you okay, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next verse is 7.
All right, go ahead. Pick it up in verse 7. No. Oh, okay. We was at verse 5. So let's skip down to verse 7 now. All right. When you get there, go ahead.
And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns.
Uh-huh.
The beast that thou sawest was,
Right.
and
the beast
is
that
not.
you saw was, meaning it did exist at some point. But go ahead.
And shall
No. Was. Go ahead.
And is not.
Not, but it's not anymore. Because we do not recognize. When I was learning this, I was in school. I was in college. I was taking world history. And I learned this, and I say to my history teacher, I say, so is Rome going to ever come back to power? You know, and it's crazy. I still remember to this day. And he's like, no, not at all. Like Rome, like he's like, not at all. And I so understand his answer now. And I wonder as a professor, if I was a professor in a university, knowing what I know now, how do I answer that? Because Rome, the empire, for all practical purposes, is gone. There's no Holy Roman Empire on the map. When you pick up a map, it says Italy, it says France, it says Spain, it says Germany, right? I get you. Turkey. But I understand also that some maps at some point said Holy Roman Empire through them same lands far after 400, 500 AD, under these different kings. Charlemagne, Charles V, Justinian, Otto the Great. The calendar actually said, the calendar, that's funny. The map actually said Holy Roman Empire. So it was, but at the same time, it's no more. So what verse are we at?
Verse 8.
The beast that thou saw was and is not, go ahead.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition.
That means he is though. He gonna ascend, he gonna come up out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. So it means he still exists. Go ahead.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wander, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Right, so this beast was, is not, and yet is. That's kind of dope to me. You know what I'm saying? Like talking about rap lyrics. You know what I mean? But we talking about this though. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about. This Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 8, Revelations chapter 13. Yeah, and now we summing it up here in 17. Go ahead.
And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The seven.
What verse are you at?
Verse 9.
Go. You read 9? Yeah, go ahead.
And there is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, in which the woman sitteth.
Right, and when you go check Rome out, you see Rome sit on 7 hills. Vatican City does, the headquarters for Rome. Let's go down to verse 9. Oh, that's funny. Let's say 9. Keep going.
And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
All right, so let me help y'all with this. So it said there are 7 kings, okay? 5, actually 6 of them don't fail, because eventually all of them going to fall. And he's saying 1 is still to come. So read that verse again.
And there are 7 kings.
You got to excuse my spelling when I spell this, because I'm not going to spell it right. But we're going to put the 7 kings. I'm going to go ahead and put the 7 kings down here for you. All right? So there are 7 kings. Keep reading.
5 are fallen.
All right, so you got Charlemagne. He done fell. Man, I don't know. Charles V. He done fell. You got Otto the Great. These are different kings that you can look up and you'll see. These all ruled the Holy Roman Empire. Otto the Great, Justinian, Lord have mercy. That is not right. All right. Then we also got, so it said, then we're going to put Napoleon up here. Now, Napoleon, man, you just got to go. Napoleon, this was during the 1800s, okay? And he ruled the world from a different capacity where he ruled Europe. But one of the things that we know that in history that you see about Napoleon is, so the Pope tried to knight him. And he like, nah, you can't rule me. You know what I'm saying? So he took the sword from him, like, and I don't know if he tried to knight the Pope or something weird like that. I don't really know. But I just know he basically said, like, you don't have that authority, because when the Pope knights you, it's kind of like saying, I got the authority to make you something. But Napoleon, he wasn't playing no games. He like, man, I run this. So these are different kings, and each one of these kings were able to run the nation of the Holy Roman Empire. Other than that, the church ran the empire. Then we got Mussolini, and he's doing World War II. Yeah, man, I know I'm messing that up. Whatever. We just put World War II up here so you know. All right. And then we got one more. So read that verse that you in now. Read that again.
And there are 7 kings.
So we got 7 kings. Charlemagne, Otto the Great, Charles V, Justinian, Napoleon, Mussolini, and then one more. Him, who he is, he's today's king. We're going to understand what that means by that. Because remember, this beast ruled to the Ancient of Days came. We ain't at the Ancient of Days yet. So it's one more left. So there are 7 kings. Go ahead.
5 are fallen.
6 of them done fell now. Go ahead.
And 1 is.
1 still remains. Go ahead.
And the other is not yet come.
Uh-huh.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Right.
And the beast that was and is not even he is
The beast
8th.
that was and is not is this beast that we talk about, this whole system. Go ahead.
Even he is the 8th and is of the 7
Right.
and goeth into perdition.
All right, so let me explain that real quick. When we get down to the end, it's going to be 2 people. It's going to be a religious leader and it's going to be a political or a military leader. So read that verse one more time.
And the beast
What
that,
verse are you reading?
verse 11.
Go ahead.
And the beast that was and is not,
That beast represents Rome. Go ahead.
even he is the 8th and is of the 7 and goeth into perdition.
So all I'm trying to tell you is when we get down to the 7, it's going to be one more dude and it's going to be the Antichrist. All right? One more plus the Antichrist. That's all that. That's the short way of saying it. All right, go ahead. What verse are we at now?
Verse 12.
Keep reading.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings.
So when you saw 10 horns in this chapter, once again, that represented 10 kings. Go ahead.
Which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Right. So that what we're looking at right there, believe it or not, is what when you get to the end, because he's gonna have power with the beast. When you get to the end, what you're looking at is the European Union. That's the 10. That's the 10. What verse was that?
Verse 13.
10, it had 10 horns. Go ahead. Read that verse 12 again.
And then, in the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings,
Go ahead.
which have received no kingdom as yet,
He's right. They don't have a kingdom yet. Keep reading.
but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Uh-huh.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Keep going.
And he saith unto me, the waters...
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. Oh, no. You know what? Read that.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues.
I just wanted to make sure we got that out there. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore and shall make her. Well, we'll get to that later. All right, so let's now go back to Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. Don't know we dealing with it a little bit here, but man, if you take good notes and maybe get a picture or something, you should be able to keep up. But all we doing again is we are in the Bible showing Rome. Rome started off Babylon to the Medes and the Persians. These are governments. These are nations. From the Medes, and let me tell you something to help me think about the Medes and the Persians. Y'all know, y'all heard of genies? Anybody in here heard of genies? Genies, like I Dream of Genie. Yeah, like I Dream of Genie. Yeah, well, that come from that Persian time period, that thought process, that genies exist, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to help you put it into today. Like this movie Aladdin come out, that's gonna be during the Persian time period. Or if anybody saw that movie, The 300. The 300 is actually right near the end of the Persians at the beginning of the Greeks. Persian was still running it. So that dude in that 300 movie, that tall dude that had on all the gold or whatever, he was like, actually I think he was Xerxes.
Xerxes, yeah.
But he was under under the Medo-Persian Empire. So I'm just trying to help you see where all this is that we're talking about in correlation to what we got here. Then all the Greek stuff, so it's all the Greek gods and all that come from here. Now the Babylonians had gods, and the Medes and the Persians, but when you start talking about guys like Apollos, Zeus, Neptune, well, I'm not sure about that one. They call it Neptune or Haiti. Right, who did the Greeks call it? The Greeks call it
Poseidon.
Hades, and the Romans call it Neptune. Poseidon, thank you. Yeah, right. So, but I'm just trying to give you some of the names, Hera and all these. That stuff that we got, Nike, that stuff came from the Greeks, okay? And then, then Rome took a lot of their stuff, and that's the thing. When Rome conquered you, they just wanted you to pay. You can keep whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, just pay me. It sounds like it's today. You can do what you want to do, just make sure you pay your taxes. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2, and let's pick it up at verse 31. When you get there, go ahead.
Thou, O king, sawest, and behold.
So now the king gonna have another dream, and we didn't get into the dream, but Daniel gonna break the dream down. So he said, thou, O king, you saw something, go ahead.
And behold, a great image, the great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay.
So we're gonna have another image here. And what verse was that? Verse 35?
No, verse 33.
34? Is that where you was?
Verse 32 and 33.
I'll jump. All right. Read 31 again.
Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image.
Uh-huh.
The great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form therefore was terrible.
Yeah.
The image's head was of fine gold.
So he said this image had a head of gold. Go ahead.
His breast and his arms of silver.
So his breast and arms are silver. This is a statue he's seeing. Go ahead.
His belly and his thighs of brass.
All right. Belly and thigh was brass. So notice each time he see a material, the material get cheaper. And on top of the material getting cheaper, it also gets stronger, though. I don't know if you know about gold, but gold is very, very weak. And then silver is a little stronger. Then you get the brass. And then what was the next one?
His legs of iron.
Then you get to iron. Go ahead.
His feet part of iron and part of clay.
But then we got to the feet, which is on the legs, and it was iron mixed with clay. Okay? Go ahead.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet.
So this image got smoked while it was on the feet, on the bottom part. Let me help y'all out here. So the head is Babylon, and then the Medes and the Persians, same stuff we've been on. Then the Greeks, this is what the statue represents, and then the Romans. Rome go all the way to the end. That's why it take you down to the toes, because when it get down to the end, it ain't even gonna seem like it was at the start when it was just all iron, because it's different nations mixing together. All right, go ahead.
Thou sawest.
Oh, he said, and then it got smoked by a stone. The stone that you see, that stone that's gonna smoke this Rome is Jesus. He the rock. Go ahead.
Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors.
What verse are you at?
Verse 35.
All right. Keep going.
And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled with the whole earth.
Let's skip down to 37.
Thou, O king, art King of kings.
See, thou, O king, art the king of kings, because he's talking to Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead.
For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beast of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath given into the land thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold.
So he said, you the head of gold. Go ahead.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, the part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another, even iron is not mixed with clay.
Go ahead.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces, consume all these kingdoms, and shall stand forever.
Go ahead.
For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Okay, so let me help y'all figure that out. All right, so what we got going on, and we're going to go back up to verse 40. He says, the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh. So when that happens next time, y'all, you got to stop it from ringing while we in the middle of church. You know, just hit the button or something. And then, or just answer it. While you're in church, don't say nothing. But let's not be rude towards others. He said, the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdue all things. No, let's start up. Let's start down. Whereas thou, okay, shall break in pieces, verse 41. Whereas thou sawest the feet, part of potter's clay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And the toes were the feet, whereas thou sawest the iron. Oh, now I guess I need to start higher. But I ain't gonna reread all of it. So basically, he just breaking down in this statue that this head represents him, and each nation represent another nation. And it went from, again, Babylon to Medes and the Persians to the Greek to Rome. But then when we got there to the Rome, notice what it said though. It said, and as the toes, verse 42, of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom should partly strong and partly broken. This is when we get to the end. Because when you look at, and we're talking about Europe, this is what Rome is. And some of the players, like when you think about Rome, you can't name but 5 nations over there in Europe. France, Paris ain't a nation. Germany, Italy. Now I can name all of them. Spain. But can anybody name me another one over there? Just give me one. European, Turkey, that's good. That's another one. Right, but I mean, you know, after a while, you don't really name, you don't think of that many because it's strong and weak. Okay? So that's why it had toes with iron mixed with clay. Okay? And then it said that for as much, verse 45, for as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hand, and that it break in pieces, the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God have made known to the king what should come to pass hereafter. Like after him, because he the head. So he said, I'm going to let you know what's going to happen to your dynasty. I'm going to destroy you. That's all he's telling them in this chapter. Let's move on to chapter 11 now. Because the class is called Armageddon, the final end to Babylon. So what we just did was we just covered in today's lesson who Babylon is. Okay? So now everything should be a little quicker, I hope. Because now when we get to Babylon and we get to the end, we got to cover this Antichrist, this person. All right, because he's going to be here when Jesus is here. Or this son of perdition, or as it said, the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel when we read Matthew chapter 24. So Daniel 11, let's pick it up at verse 31, and when you get there, go ahead.
And arms shall stand on his part.
So arms, that means like military. So this dude, this guy that we about to read about, he going to have a military. Go ahead.
They shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate.
Right, so this is the abomination of desolation that we saw in Matthew 24, and he said, when you in Daniel, whosoever readeth, let him understand. What verse are we at?
Verse 32.
Verse 32. Go ahead, start reading.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame, by captivity and by spoil many days.
Right, so when we get to the end and this abomination of desolation set up, it's saying that such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their God should be strong in exploits. So it's going to be people around here showing you that this guy don't know what he's talking about and don't know what he's doing. They that understand among the people shall instruct many. This is all during that time period of the great tribulation that we're reading about now. What verse are you at?
Verse 34.
All right, read 35.
And some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
All right, verse 37.
Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers.
So we're talking about somebody who's not going to have regard to the God of his fathers, meaning, again, we dealing with the last leaders of the Roman Empire. Just like when the popes come to America, they make them a throne. So we're talking about the popes, and they say he's not going to regard the God of his fathers because he's going to be the first one that come different from the rest of them. He's going to be the first one that ain't going to start talking. Like when you listen to a pope, they still give God and Jesus a level of honor and respect. It's going to be one that don't. That's what he is the replacement. That's why he's saying that neither shall he regard the God of his fathers. What else?
Nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all.
All right, now let's go pick him up in Revelation chapter 6 now. So this player here he is going to take us, he's the leader of Rome and or Babylon, and he's going to take us to Armageddon. So when you look at your title and you see what we did, we introduced the first player, and we took him all the way back from Nebuchadnezzar and brought him all the way to the end. So now we're here with him in the end, and we're in Revelation 6, and it's going to start talking about him here and what he going to do. When you get there, go ahead.
And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat therein, and take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword.
All right, so what we got going on in Revelation chapter 6, we see It said, and I saw a lamb open one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, a noise of thunder, and one of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." So each one of these seals is like it's sealed, and somebody got to open them. And every time you open them, something coming out of it. So he's saying to John, "Come and see what's coming out." So he said in verse 2, "And when I saw, behold, I saw a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and he was with a crown, and he went forth to conquer." So he said, the first thing I saw was a man who is a ruler. This is the Antichrist we're talking about. That's what he saw first. And when he opened the second, he heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So now we're looking at a time where when this guy is ruling, peace will be taken away from the earth. A la the Great Tribulation period that we read about in Matthew 24. Some of it we read in Daniel. Verse 5, go ahead.
And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny.
Go ahead.
And see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine."
So now we seeing that this person gonna have control of the food, the barley and the measure of wheat, and for a penny in oil. Okay, this is what the seals are. Each seal is showing you what's to happen. So we discussing a man who's gonna conquer, he gonna kill, he gonna have power over the food. Go ahead.
And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth.
Right. So when we was looking at Matthew 24, it was like in earthquakes and pestilence and famines and divers lands. This is all part of what we see here as we open up the seals. So when he opened up the seal, he opened up the fourth seal, he saw a pale white horse. A pale horse. And on that name was Death, because when we get to this dude that's going to conquer in the end, a lot of people going to die during his time when he here. You had a question?
So this is just one man.
Nah, he's seeing different horses each time. It's all showing you what's going to happen in the end, where the Antichrist is going to rule and conquer. So he's not seeing, it's not telling you he's seeing the same man on each horse. He's saying the first horse I saw was white. Behold, I saw, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow. Then it says, verse 4, he said there went another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon. Like it's not so much the same person that's sitting on each horse, because that's not relevant. What's relevant is what each horse was doing, because they was all different. But it's not really giving us if it's the same man sitting on it or not.
I mean, not sitting on the horse, but I'm saying the same man that's.
It's the Antichrist that's doing all this. Yeah, it's the Antichrist. Okay, the Antichrist is doing all of this. Why is we on the conversation to a class? So like you see, that's why I'm gonna do you like that one of these days when you teach it. Let me just throw you all off, like start asking you questions. You ain't even gonna be able to answer mine though. Right, that's okay. So now we got these 4 different seals that come out, and these are 4 horses that John is seeing coming out these seals, and each horse is representing something. But it's all in the time period of the abomination of desolation, or the Antichrist. All right, now let's look at the 5th seal, verse 9.
And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?"
Go ahead.
And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled.
All right, now we're going to look at the sixth seal. Go ahead.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Mm-hmm.
And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
So when you're looking at the sixth seal, what's going on? He says earthquakes. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. This is what he's saying. So these seals started off with a man conquering, and it's ending with what we saw in Matthew 24, earthquakes, and the sun turning red, and the moon turning black. Basically, it's ending with the coming of the Lord. Keep going.
And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For a great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
Zephaniah chapter 1. All right, so what we got going on now is, and we're going to see, I'm going to show you why, but we got the coming of the Lord. But what a lot of people don't know and understand is when we get to this seventh seal, hey man, when we get to this seventh seal, we get to this sixth seal, because we didn't already have 4 of them, and 4 of them was a different horse. Now, when we get to this sixth seal, that's the coming of the Lord, but it's not at the end yet. All right? So seals 1 through 4 was talking about the Antichrist and what he gonna do. Then seal number 5 was it was talking about death. You know what I'm saying? It was like the great tribulation. And we said, and white robes were given unto them, and one of them said, and how long, rest yet for a little while until their fellow servants also and their brothers should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So it was like, the 5th seal was like, we'll just say, death. But the 6th seal is really the return of Jesus, but it ain't over yet. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. This 6th seal, you still got about 5 months left. We'll get to that later. So what we're getting at is when Jesus returns, so this is what we learned new today. Oh, my bad, y'all. So this is what we learned new today, if you didn't know already. I always thought Jesus was going to come back, like the day Jesus come back, then that was going to be it. But what we're going to learn, and when you look at the 6th seal, he says, and behold, and I beheld, and when I had opened up the 6th seal, lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became, and the stars rolled to heaven, and it fell, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig cast her untimely figs. She was shaken by a mighty wind, and the heavens departed like a scroll. So what makes more sense too is when Jesus returned, he come back, he gonna depart the heavens like a scroll, and he gonna sit here for a minute while the earth gonna prepare themselves to fight this dude. See, so he not gonna just sit in the heavens and just like come back like and just bang the earth out unexpectedly. You understand what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden the heavens roll back like a scroll, Then when you woke up this morning, by the end of the day, he bang out everybody. Like the Lord gonna come back more like the movies. You know, like when you look at like the Independence Day movie or, you know, any these types of movies, when the spaceship come, it sit there first. And then it'd be a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 type joint. So that's what this sixth seal is. Okay? So what verse are we at? Zephaniah, right? Zephaniah chapter 1, and let's pick it up at verse 14.
The great day of the Lord is near.
So when we get to this sixth seal, the great day of the Lord is near. It's coming now. Go ahead.
It is near, and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly. The day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness.
So once we get to this sixth seal, it's this place horrible now. You know what I'm saying? When I say it's like, see, for us, we like cool with it because the Lord is coming back. But the reality is the world ain't cool with it at this point. Like the world ain't going, I'm talking about at the point where we get here, because the world has been programmed to think that this, what we seeing ain't God. So you got something coming back that you don't comprehend as a world. Meantime, you got this dude down here ruling, offering the mark of the beast, controlling everything. So this is a bad time for the planet, worst time ever. Go ahead, what verse?
Verse 16.
Uh-huh.
A day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities, against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
All right, now let's go back to Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. So chronologically right now, we are sometime in the Great Tribulation period as we approach the actual end, the resurrection. So what I want you to think of it now is that the return of Jesus is the sixth seal, but you got more, actually you got way more after the sixth seal. Because you still, the seventh seal, it opened the trumpets. And you're going to have 7 trumpets, and the 7th trump is the actual trumpet of the resurrection. So again, when we at this sixth seal, that's the heavens rolling back like a scroll. They gonna see the Lord. That's why when people be talking about everybody gonna see the Lord, yeah, you gonna also dude gonna be up there for months. Y'all act like everybody gonna see this event that happened overnight or something. And people be trying to figure out how can everybody see it at one time. Like he gonna be in the sky for months. All right, so what verse are we at? Revelation 7 and 1. Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. Ain't that where we at, bro?
Mm-hmm.
All right, when you get there, go ahead.
And after these things,
So after what things? After the Lord came back and he in the sky, hovering, okay? If you want to have an idea of it, I don't know how many people seen the movie Independence Day, but I think of it like that. Like a spacecraft that done bust open the clouds and it's sitting there. And we trying to figure out what the heck going on. Go ahead.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
All right, so what's going on here in this Revelation chapter 7, he's saying, look, so when Jesus come back, now these angels out here, and they like, look, hold on. Before you start banging the rest of this planet, let's seal the servants of God so we don't hurt them. Let's make sure we put a mark on all the servants of God, because when this sixth seal comes, Jesus here. So now he about to start putting his wrath on this earth. All right, go ahead. What verse?
Verse 4.
Oh, that's good. Let's go to Revelation chapter 8 now, and let's pick it up at verse 1. You all right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was a silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. And I saw the 7 angels which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And
all right, that's good. Now let's jump over to verse 6, and we'll look at the first trumpet.
And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to the sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees were burnt up.
All right, so at first we sealed everybody as we got to the 7th seal. So in the 6th seal was the return of Jesus. But then the 7th seal opened up the first trumpet. But between there, the angel, when Jesus got back, they was instructed to make sure you don't hurt nobody. Seal up who you need to seal up so you don't hurt the wrong people. Now we at the trumpets, and each trumpet is some vial of wrath. And so the first one, angel sounded, there was fire mingled with blood, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the grass was burnt up. Then the second angel gonna blow his trumpet. Verse 8, go ahead.
And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with the fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life, died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters.
Go ahead.
And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And in the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
So each trumpet that's blowing is some type of vial of wrath that's coming on this earth, okay? From death to, but these are all things, plagues that's coming from the Lord. Verse 12.
And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, be reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound.
Right, so when we got to this angel, he was like, before we blow these next ones, whoa, 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 this finna be ugly. That's what we getting at here, okay? And then we about to start opening up the other trumpets now. So let's go to the 5th trumpet.
And the 5th angel sounded.
So what we're gonna do when we get to as we get to the trumpets, that's what's gonna walk us into Armageddon, okay? So that's why we reading all these trumpets here. Go ahead.
And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from the heaven unto the earth.
So you got to realize when the 5th angel's here, he said he saw a star fall from heaven. We already got Jesus in the heaven. Like when we talking about the heaven, we got Jesus in the clouds right now. So he's seeing this. This is coming from Jesus. That's all. They coming from way up yonder. It's coming from where the Lord is, because the heavens are already rolled back like a scroll. Go ahead.
And to him given to the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, and as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit.
All right, that's good. Let's jump over to verse. Oh, no, keep reading.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth hath power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads.
So when you get this fifth trumpet, he, is destroying. See, these locusts really is a war going on the earth, because it's not like real grasshopper locusts is coming out. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them were given power as scorpions to have power, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the earth. But notice, not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men that didn't have the seal, because the Lord had already sealed them in chapter 8. I think that was chapter 8, chapter 7. All right, keep going.
And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but
What
they...
verse are you at?
Verse 5.
Let's jump down to verse 7.
And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle.
So go ahead, keep going.
And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men.
Right, so you you see here, thank you. These aren't just regular locusts, it's like grasshoppers. They got faces, the faces of men. See, the thing is, when John is looking at this is the only thing he can relate what he see to. But grasshoppers that got faces like men that sting like scorpions is pretty much, he's talking about helicopters. Because helicopters take straight up off the ground, they come back down. They got a white shield that sit right there, and you see faces of men. Like, that's what you see. And this is what he's trying, but John don't know what the heck a helicopter look like. So he's just seeing what it's doing. He relating it the best way he can. All right. So he said in the breastplate of verse 9 was the breastplate of iron, and the sound of the wings was the sound of a chariot of many horses running to battle. Like how we call, that's a motor he hear. Like when you call your car, when you talk about your car, you talk about horsepower. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it sounds like, believe it or not. If you was to hear that many horses at one time, it's going to sound like that muffler or something on your car. Well, that's, or even with the helicopter going on. Like, these is just all of what he's describing it the best way he can, something that's going to happen 2,000 years later. All right? Then he said, and they had tails unto the scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and power was to hurt men 5 months. So you ask me, how did I know that Jesus was going to be in the sky for 5 months? Because this was the sixth seal. Seal number 7 opened up the trumpets. As we discussed the trumpets, now we at trumpet number 6, and we seeing that men are going to get hurt for we're at trumpet number 5, and we see men are going to get hurt for 5 months. Okay, keep reading.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter.
Right, so he's saying, look, and they had the scorpions and their stings and their tails and their power was to hurt men 5 months, and they had a king over them. So the king came from Babylon, one of them kings that we were discussing earlier in the class. And he say, the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, and in the Greek tongue, his name is Apollyon. So notice how it start interpreting it, the tongue. All right. What verse are we at?
Verse 12.
Verse 12.
No, verse 13.
All right. Nah, we ain't going there. Let's go to Revelation chapter 16 now. Where's Nashan? Nashan sitting right there. Find Nashan and Makai. So my children are gonna sit through class, and I don't know, everybody else ain't gotta sit through class, but I don't watch my children sat there and sit through that video game for 6-7 hours. So they're gonna sit through class, regardless of their excuse. Revelation chapter 16, and let's pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead.
And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways, and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped him his image.
Where's your sister? Micaiah.
And
You joking. Find her. So the vials of wrath that come out. So each time the seals was here, it was a vial of wrath that came out with it. Okay? So it said, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went out and poured a vial upon the earth, and therefore a noisome, grievous sore upon men, which had the mark of the beast. And so each time we saw the trumpet blow, and is a different wrath gonna come, okay? So now we're gonna jump over to verse 10, and we're gonna go to that 5th trumpet, which is really gonna lead us into what's happening next. So go ahead, verse 10.
And the 5th angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds.
So all of what God was doing, mankind still couldn't figure out how to say, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry we done messed up this place. They still feel like they right. Let's go over to Daniel chapter 11, and let's pick it up at verse 40. Daniel 11 and 40. Daniel 11 and 40. And when you get there, go ahead and read. Daniel 11 and 40. So we're going back to the Antichrist, and we're picking it up from here. And when you get there, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to cut some of this. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 9. Revelation chapter 9. Yeah, we're going to cut this down a little bit. And we're going to run it from Revelation and see if we can't figure it out from here without having to read some of the other stuff. Revelation chapter 9, and let's pick it up at verse 12. So we're going back to the 5th trumpet, okay? And we're going to finish the 5th and go into the 6th. And when you get there, yeah, we might still have to go back to Joel. But go ahead. When you get there, go ahead and read.
One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter.
Uh-huh.
And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before God, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
So he's saying, okay, it's angels that's holding back the rivers of the Euphrates. Loose them angels right now. Go ahead.
And the 4 angels were loosed, and which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men.
Go ahead.
And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard.
So that's what, see, what happens is in Joel, excuse me, in Joel chapter 2, you get an army come together. And then you're going to get another army coming together when we get to Revelation chapter 9, 12, and 19. That's what we got going on right now. 2 armies is coming together. And basically the center line point is the Euphrates River. Meaning you got one army coming from the Euphrates side and one army coming from the other side, from the north of it and from the south of it. The east army is coming from the north of it, and the the west army is coming from the south of it. Okay? And it says, and the 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the 3rd part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and adjacents and brimstones, and heads of the horses was as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. So the reason we looking at this is all military war equipment that we see in here. All right. Verse 18, go ahead.
By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed of these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor their fornication, nor their thefts.
All right, so when it's all said and done, the Lord is here, and He like, man, y'all still ain't repenting through all of this stuff that's taking place here. All right, now let's go over to chapter 16. Revelation chapter 16, let's pick it up at verse 12. So again, when you look at the trumpets, each trumpet has a vial of wrath that goes with it. So if you, and we'll look at this again when we get to the trumpets, but if you go to trumpet 1, the actual vial of wrath to go with it is number 1, the first one. When you look at trumpet 2, the vial of wrath that go with it it starts at verse 3, okay? This the second one. So the seals again introduce the trumpets. So by the time we get to the seventh seal, now we're at the trumpets. Now, trump number 5 and 6 trump number 5 is a preparation for war, is what we just saw. Now when we get to the trumpet number 6, we're going to actually get to Armageddon. Sorry. Let's pick this up at verse 12.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame.
Go ahead, verse 16.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
Okay, so when we get to the 6th vial of wrath or the 6th trumpet, this is when we approaching this place Armageddon. So you got 2 armies that's coming, one from the east and one from the west, and they coming to fight each other. Now let's go over to Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3. Joel chapter 3. And pick it up at verse 1. Verse 9. Joel 3 and 9. Go ahead.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
So this is what's going on. War coming on. So he said, proclaim this amongst the Gentiles. Because these are all Gentile nations that's meeting at this Armageddon. Go ahead.
Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So he said, this is the valley where this battle going to take place. He's like, let everybody come we're gonna get here to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And what's so big about this? Go ahead.
Let the heathen be weakened.
Huh? No, the valley, for there will I sit to judge all the heathens round about. This is what he's saying. This is where we're going to make the decision on who's going to rule the world. Because what's going on is you got these two armies coming together, the army from the east and the army from the west. The Russian army and the Chinese army and all that's running with them, and against the Pope. Because the Pope, he been trying to rule the world all this time. Right now, we inside the Great Tribulation period. So we inside that 3.5 year period, and he been running it. But he ain't gonna be able to run. That's why we was read Daniel chapter 9, Daniel chapter 11, we was at that verse 40 and stuff. You'll see he was trying to run all of Africa. You know, like he was running all of the Mediterranean, and he got stopped at a certain point, because where he got stopped is where the Arabs was. But the Arab allies is Russia and China and all that stuff that sit behind them. So if you look on the map, in so many words, the world is split at the Euphrates. And even when you start really looking at it, the world is split at the Euphrates. You got us, and we rock with Europe. And then when you get to about the Middle East, where the Euphrates is, if you go straight up on there, now you got Russia and China and Pakistan and Afghanistan and India, and all the places we don't rock with like that. When it come down to war, they don't get down to how we beat. And Africa don't count. That's really the Gentile land, to be honest with you. The Gentile done took Ham land. They colonized the Hamites, they run it. You know what I'm saying? That's how they was able to get us over here as slaves. The slave trade, as they call it. So at any rate, this is where the decision gonna go down. So now let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. We just got a couple more. Isaiah chapter 13. So they're going to meet in the valley of Jehoshaphat. Isaiah 13. And let's pick it up at verse 1. And when you get there, so I'm going to tell you, it's going to drive me nuts if I don't say it. These brothers that be reading, I know it's the hot seat, but y'all have got to work on your craft. The class is going to be much longer and harder to follow if you don't work on your craft and read smooth. I hear these women read around here, brothers. They read better than y'all. It ain't for no reason that you don't put forth the effort to work, to improve on this, as if it ain't important. But then we sit in class, and what should be 2 hours turns into 3 hours. Brothers, you have got to work on your craft. So I should not see you, Brother Jacob, at Bible in Plain View. You know what I'm saying? Or you should be sitting around here reading with other people. Now, yes, you have definitely improved, but we have got to improve our craft so that this, what we do, work every week, and so that it gets better every week, so that we can all get better every week. And it's not just a knock on you. It's on all these brothers that be sitting up here. You know what I'm saying? Work on it, improve it. And if I don't say it, it's going to irritate me. So, at any rate, Isaiah 13, let's pick it up at verse 1.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the noble. I have commanded my sacrificed ones.
Sanctified ones.
I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness.
Go ahead.
The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as the great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
Go ahead.
They come from a far country.
So what we're doing is we're getting everybody together to come in battle. This is what this chapter is about. They come from a far country. Go ahead.
From the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the heavens of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand.
So that's where we at. This Armageddon, the day of the Lord is at hand. Go ahead.
it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
Uh-huh.
Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed as one another. Their faces shall be as flames.
Verse 9.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger.
See, people think that they looking forward to the day of the Lord approaching. He like, man, this day ain't nothing that we reading and talking about today a beautiful thing to be looking at. What we talking about as we approach to the days of Armageddon, this earth gonna be hell. Anybody seen any of them Terminator movies and how bad the world be looking on that movie? We talking about like that. You know, nothing pretty. You ain't gonna be sitting in your, house in Cherry Hills, with your satellite dish watching all this. Sitting there with your feet kicked up on your sofa or something with some popcorn. Like, this is gonna be all hell that break loose on the whole earth. Like, if you can understand some of the things we reading, we talking about destruction on the earth, third of the earth here, fourth of the earth here, third of the earth here. This place finna get ugly. That's why he said, remember we read early in the class, pray you ain't got no children. That you ain't giving suck during that time period. Because it's finna get bad. You think the Antichrist is gonna get bad. The whole scene gonna be bad as we approach to Armageddon. And that's what he's saying. Verse 7, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they should be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them, and they should be in pain as a woman in travail. That's how this world gonna be, like a woman that's about to give birth. I've been there. It ain't easy giving birth. Although I don't know how my wife be in there cooling like she ain't in no pain, but she was in pain. And then it say they should be amazed one at another. Like, that's what we're gonna have, amazement as this day approaches. Their faces should be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. You see what he's talking about doing? Destroying this place. Like, you know why he destroying this place? Because we got this whole earth to fire. He don't want none day of what's here to be here. No, we done shed all kind of blood. Man, you know what we done did on this land? We done committed homosexual acts. That is disgusting. We did this on the land. He gonna clean it up. You know what I'm saying? To say the least, he gonna clean it up. Ain't none of this gonna be, it ain't gonna be by chance that Jesus decided to walk in your neighborhood and happen to step somewhere where some men was doing some things that's ungodly in the past. You understand what I'm saying? He gonna make sure it's all clean. Go ahead, keep reading. What verse are we at now?
Verse 9.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he should destroy the sinner thereof out of it. So this is what he's saying when he come back. He destroying the sinner. So they're going to meet up at the valley of decisions, and then the Lord going to come back and make the decision, and he going to take over and win. Go ahead, verse 10.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened.
Oh, that's good. I'm sorry. We didn't even have to read all that. All right, so let's now go to Revelation 19. Revelation chapter 19. Revelation chapter 19. And let's pick it up at verse 11. And so, and one thing I want us to get from today's lesson is when you read Revelation, this is John trying to tell you what he sees. Okay? And you just got to keep it at that perspective as you begin to as it begins to open up to you. John trying to tell you what he sees. So what does he see in verse 11? Go ahead.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
So now he's seeing Jesus coming in a white horse. Go ahead.
And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself.
Right, because when it's all said and done, he coming back to be King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So yeah, mankind gonna come and meet at the valley of decisions, but the ultimate decision making gonna be God. And this is where he's going now decide to take over this place. Otherwise, man would have went on ahead and hit that button on each other. You know what I'm saying? We would have went on ahead and locked elbows and fought this thing out and killed one another is what we really would have did. What verse are we at?
Verse 13.
Go ahead.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, and white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron.
Now, he's not going to be walking around here literally with a sword in his mouth. See, the Lord going to speak the words and things going to happen just like he spoke it into creation. So he said, and out of his mouth goeth the sharp sword that he should smite the nations. So, but again, I want us to see that when the Lord come back, he's talking about whipping the nation's head, not secretly rapturing the church off anywhere. And he shall rule them with the rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of all God, of the wrath of Almighty God. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written. This is not a tattoo. Somebody tried to tell me you can get a tattoo because he had a name written on his thigh. Like, no, that's not how this go down. Look, consider it more like a jersey or like a robe or something, and something written on it if you really want to be that technical about what he saw. Then he said, and what was written there anyway, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Verse 17. Go ahead.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice,
What'd he
saying,
say?
To all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat of the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
That's how it's going down. There's so much bloodshed going on that, the Lord not going. I mean, come on, you gotta be real. How if we gonna kill this many people? Some places gonna say blood up to the horse's bridle. So blood. How tall y'all say the horse's bridle was? Somebody said this. 6 feet high. Okay. So we got blood that's 6 feet high for about the space of here to New York or so. That's a lot of blood. So what's the cleanup crew supposed to be? You know what I mean? Honestly, well, that's the point. The cleanup crew is the birds and the fowls of the air. Come clean this mess up. The vultures, they like that type of stuff. Some of these animals like this. So come get it. See, because at this point right now, we're into the kingdom of Jesus. Now, we're not going to read Zechariah 14. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. Go ahead, keep reading.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him, and sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, and which he
so this beast and
this
this false prophet came from that Babylonian dynasty. That Revelation 13 really is where the beast and false prophet come. They're the ones that make us take up the mark of the beast, so on and so. When he come back, he snatching them up first, and he like, you too. I'm gonna show you the you two we talking about. When we was in Revelation chapter 17, we was over here, and we said we was naming out the 7 kings, and we was like, one is fallen, and one is still to come. All right, with them two, them last two, number 7 and number 8, and number 8 was of the 7. Them two dudes, that's the beast and the false prophet. Then the first 2 people that go in the lake of fire. So when we get into the kingdom of heaven, and our children's children, because all of us getting up at the resurrection, we hope. Our children's children, they over there in the land, they go back home, go to the wilderness, then they go and they dwell in Jerusalem where they should be. They gonna see the beast and the false prophet burning in the lake of fire forever, generation upon generation. This is the plan of God. So he said, verse 18, and ye may eat the, or verse 19, and I saw the beast and the king of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and that sat on against his army. And the beast was taken. So the beast is a person we talking about. And with him, the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, which had deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them which worship his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Both of these people went into the lake of fire. Verse 21.
And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh.
So he said, and after that, everybody else started getting killed. Okay? This is after the Lord, not just like in this, how we saw in the seals where he sat there for 5 months. We talking about after the seventh trump. All right? Because the seventh trump is the resurrection. The sixth trump was Armageddon. Okay? Now let's go to Zechariah chapter 14. Yeah. Zechariah 14. Zechariah chapter 14. And let's pick this up at verse 1. And when you get there, Zechariah 14:1, go ahead.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoils shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
So you see what's going on? He said, I'm gathering the nations to battle against Jerusalem. Because that's the hot spot. This valley of Jehoshaphat sit right outside Jerusalem. That's the hot spot. I'm bringing everybody here so we can make a decision on who's going to rule the world. Let's skip down to verse 3.
Then shall the Lord go forth in the fight against those nations.
Right, but then the Lord going to come and fight against those nations. Keep reading.
As when he fought in the day of battle.
Let's skip over to verse 7.
But it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be.
Go ahead.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth.
Right, that's what he came back with on his vesture. King of kings and Lord of lords. So at this point, the Lord going to be king over all the earth. Go ahead. Oh, and his name what? And there, and over all the earth, in that day there should be one Lord, and his name one. All right, let's skip down to verse 16. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which cometh against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the king.
So he's saying these nations that came to fight, whatever left of them, they're going to have to come year by year to come see the king in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
The Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
And we're going to still be dealing with feast days when we get to this point. So understand what's going on. The Armageddon, when it says Armageddon, the final end of Babylon, all we getting at is, look, Babylon is the system of government that we in right now. Armageddon is a place, the Valley of Decisions, Jehoshaphat, over there in the land, where we're going to bring everybody down to make this final decision, because they thinking they're going to try to run the world from right there. And well, really, one want to run the world, and the other one saying, you ain't running me. But as they get there and they make that approach, the Lord going to finally be like, I got this. I'm taking it back. And once I take back the world, now everybody got to serve me a certain type of way. How I've been telling you to do it according to based off the scripture. Many men would have died by this point. Let's go to our last scripture. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13. So your homework this time is to finish all this lesson. Read this stuff we missed, because we skipped a little bit of it. Matthew chapter 13. And let's pick this up at verse 47. And we should be running to about 50. 47 to 50. Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 through 50.
Again,
Nah, better yet, man, let's start it higher. Because we should read this. Verse 44. Go ahead.
again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto treasure hid
Now,
in a field.
he said the kingdom of heaven, not like making it to heaven. The kingdom of heaven is something that we are striving to pursue right now. That's what we want. So he begins to describe the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in a field. Go ahead.
The which a man hath found, the hid that he
Which
hideth,
when a man has found, go ahead.
he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath, and buyeth that field.
Right, he's saying, look, if you want this salvation, if you want to be on the right side of this, then he's saying you like a man that's going to sell all he got and go get this field. That's how important this is if you want to be on the right side of this. Go ahead.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man, seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it.
Uh-huh.
Again.
So again, we talking about the kingdom of heaven. This is the most important thing. That's the point we getting at. All right, go ahead.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind.
So clean and unclean, that's every kind. Catfish, shrimp, whiting, bass, tuna, octopus, everything you can grab out of there. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
Which when it was full, they drew to shore
This is what the kingdom of heaven is about now. Uh-huh.
and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away.
Right. Like when it's all said and done, that's what's going to happen. If you the unclean, you're going to get thrown out. And if you the clean, this is what the kingdom of heaven is. If you the clean, then you're going to get salvation. Go ahead.
So shall it be in the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Right. So that's when it's all said and done, that's what it boils down to. That you got to make the choice and the decision that you're going to serve God and understand what it is. What we looked at today, we just looked at the plan of God and how he plans on taking this place back. He planned on he done get Babylon run this world right now. This ungodly system we in, the one that got us, man, over here acting the way we act, thinking the way we think, being who we are. Like really, it got us, man, they got us so bad we don't even know we messed up. And then, but God saying, I'm gonna take it back, and it's gonna all happen at Armageddon. That's gonna be the showdown or the hoedown. So, brothers and sisters, Armageddon, the final end to Babylon. I hope we got some understanding in Jesus' name. Praise the Lord.
So then here.
Oh, nah, I used to be over there. Okay.
Our prayer is that the eyes of your understanding were enlightened by today's lesson. DVDs of the lesson are available. Please place your order in the offering box along with your donation. Please see one of the brothers in the sound room the following week for your requested copy. Lessons of all ICOJ, Israel Church of Jesus locations are online via YouTube or ICOJ www.israelchurchofjesus.net website. If you feel you are ready to be baptized, please sign the baptismal list on the table in the hallway in front of the equipment room, or speak with one of the brothers. On the third Sunday of every month, we broadcast a Bible in plain view. If you are interested in presenting a short 30-minute lesson or interested in helping, please let us know. The following dress code for our services: all clothing should be modest in appearance, nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, sagging, or revealing should be worn.
On that note, FYI, so I know it's getting hot. So read that again. I want you to read that again.
All clothing should be modest in appearance.
Number one, modest in appearance. You know who determined modest? I do, honestly. But you really know who, but when I say I do, I'm saying each and every one of us do. Like, if it ain't modest to Ira, Then Sister Stephanie, it ain't modest, sis. Now you might be like, man, you trying to dictate what I wear. Look, the dress code is in play so that we can come in here, keep these commandments, and not be bothered with other people's body. Just tell you, just that simple. Like, I shouldn't come to church and have to see your bosoms or see your buttocks and all that type of stuff. Now, you might say, well, why is you looking? Look, we doing the best we can to make sure that, because when we come to church look like some Muslims, you want to, and put all these women in the whole full garment, right? You know, that don't even sound cool. You know what I'm saying? Brothers, too, we can all just wrap up. I'm saying, like, let's be considerate of one another when we come. And if you get that tap on the shoulder, don't take it too personal. And there gonna be too many people that's gonna tap you on the shoulder, but maybe one of these, maybe somebody like me or Ira or Brother Paul or something to that effect. Like, it ain't gonna be the whole church tapping you on the shoulder. But I will say that I have seen that the dress code will be enforced. Let's just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? You can come to me if you have your issues or your concerns about what other people wear. I really don't care if you come to me, but I probably may have either said it to them or maybe they're not here for me to say it. But, this particular day, but I'm saying we're gonna deal with it. But we're gonna make sure, I know it's getting hot out. Brothers, you don't wear shorts, you don't wear sweatpants. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's getting hot now, but, we're gonna keep the dress code. We're not gonna be up in here free for all. Go ahead, finish them announcements, bro.
Nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, sagging, or revealing.
Sagging, that means I don't want to see your plumbers behind. I don't want to see your underwear, men. They are underwear for a reason. That means they need to be under your pants. Or inside your pants. They don't need to be sagging outside your pants where I see that you got on Gap drawers or something. I don't need to know the brand name of your drawers. Keep going.
Men are to remove hats and all head covering, and women should wear a head covering, such as a hat or a scarf, according to 1 Corinthians 11, verses 1 through 7. If your young child becomes noisy or restless during the lesson, distracting other members, please remove him or her to the children's room down the hallway.
Use wisdom with that. You got a children's room or you can walk outside or something. But the thing is, we are trying to be considerate of others. Some people can't do it. When your kids get to moving and yelling and all, they ain't got kids. So what you able to tune out, the slightest pin, man, sometimes the slightest pin drop bothers people around here. Go ahead, keep going.
Any tithes or freewill offerings should be put in an offering envelope and placed in the offering box near the podium. Pray for our strength as we pray for yours. Until next Sabbath, peace.
Peace. All right, so we got a few things. We're going to be packed next week. Next week is the feast weekend. Number one, it is a double Sabbath. I think some of them North Carolina people trying to go to New York, but I ain't too sure about that. Just letting y'all know. So expect them to be here. And think about this, for those that stay afterward, like, kind of kick it up here, that they are accustomed to bringing food. They stay till they leave the spot, but they are out of town. So it may make it a little difficult for them to bring, enough. So make sure we got enough to feed people, like, on the Sabbath, for those that stick around. It's a double Sabbath, so get everything Thursday night and Friday. Come Friday night, you 2 days down. No gas station runs, none of that. I'll be trying to get you extra food, none of that stuff. I'm just telling it to you. I don't really care what you do. But if you miss it, you just gonna have to be without. I'll be trying to go to the liquor store Sunday night or Sunday morning because you forgot to get your wine for the feast. Okay? Also, we'll have a baptism next week after the Sabbath. For those that know, it just be we're gonna find a new YMCA. We call it the Darby Jordan River. That's what that is. That's what that is. That's our version of the Jordan because it take good pictures. But we're gonna baptize Brother Andre, Lord willing. And this Brother Andre right here. We're gonna baptize this brother, Lord willing. Yeah. Next Sabbath after class. So we'll probably have a little short baptism class or something before we do that, but we'll cover that. Um, Also keep Sister Mildred in your prayers, Brother Earl. Keep Sister Lisa and Brother Ira. You see they not here today. Keep them in your prayers. Still keep Sister Erica in prayer. It's good to see Erica here today. Yep. Sister Joan, Brother Marlowe be asking.
Please keep me in prayer.
Brother Jacob, he be asking not just for himself, but I think he be asking for
For my grandmother.
his grandmother. We see we got Brother Bill in the back, but still keep him and Sister Joyce in prayer. Good, definitely good to see them here. Now, my ask y'all, I don't have a problem with us voicing. I want you to voice it. But when I say chill out, because that's enough, that's what we got to do. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we got to, we just still church. You know what I mean? Nate was laughing when we talked about it. He was like, see, that's why I don't let them Negroes do that no more. Because everybody want to sit here and give a long dissertation. I'm like, nah, we're going to do it, but we're going to stay within order because I feel like it's something that we need. So besides that, is there anybody else that I forgot to mention in prayer or let's ask Sister Shanita? All right. Oh, don't forget Sister Rose and her family. I ain't seen them in a month now. Okay, but I ain't seen them though. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that. Don't forget Brother Paul. Right. And make sure you keep him in prayer. I talked to him this week, but make sure y'all communicating with him. You had your hand up? Oh. Anybody else asking for prayer? Oh, man, definitely. And make sure you keep me in my house in prayer, too, please. Brother Gary? What did he just say, pray for him? Yeah. All right. You talking about Brother Gary, the big guy in the sound room? Yeah, I heard that. Pray for Brother Gary, the big guy in the sound room. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, so feast. Again, remember how this work. You cook enough for yourself and extra. If you don't cook, which a couple people don't cook, they have made themselves accounted for. It's easy to come to me and I help you find, but if you don't cook or if you're not able to cook, whatever the case is, men or women, find somebody and just make sure you've been covered. Those that are doing the cooking, when you covering somebody, so even if there's something you got to discuss, Sister Lisa, you cooking for Rob, Rob, we got to make sure that I got enough for you and somebody else for me and somebody else for you. You know what I mean? Make sure you cover it like that. The grill will be on. So, I don't know who manning the grill, Brother Marlowe. You manning the grill? If I was you, I'd give me a team, man, to train them up, because North Carolina, they calling here, is the grill going to be on? You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people probably going to be handing you their meat. What time you going to be here, you know? All right, well.
Tamika said she want to grill something too. So.
I'll put it to you like this. If I was you, I would talk with Marlo if you plan on getting stuff grilled, but it'd probably be wise to have it up here Saturday night at least, and for it to just be known, not for the Saturday night people to not eat your meat. Because, it'd be Saturday night people up here too, and the grill going to be on that night too, so. But, just make sure like myself or Marlo or whether you market know to, not eat your food that Saturday night, which we ain't never had that problem. But the grill will be on Saturday night, the grill will be on Sunday, and I would suggest you have your food up here early enough, and if that's what you're doing, because you ain't got a grill, but I've been noticing over the years, and my wife brought it to my attention that we always grill on Pentecost, and I'm like, yeah, good point. So we tend to, make that more of that type of deal. So, like I say, feel free to do that. I know I'm going to have some meat up here for Marlo, both night and day. A couple other families done did the same. So, other than that, make sure you accounted for it, because we're not supposed to be showing up to these feasts with empty stomach and empty pockets. You understand what I'm saying? And I ain't saying that you got to pay to be here. What I'm saying is you got to contribute. You're not supposed to come empty-handed. So if you ain't got no money, then you need to go holler at somebody. You know, like, hey, can I hold a couple bucks? I ain't got nothing to do nothing with. But this group is pretty blessed, and we ain't broken here. So I don't expect that to really be the case. But if it is, just let me know. Hey, trust me, I done been broken in you, so I ain't gonna look at you like you're crazy. I just might check your purse, make sure you ain't got no drugs in it. I'm just playing. But other than that, we got anything else? Anybody else? All right, what it is? I guess we'll start Bible study at 5 o'clock. We'll stand, face Jerusalem, close it out. Oh, I'm sorry. A couple of other quick things. I think the lease is up July, and I think it's the end of July. So man, be praying hard about that, because y'all see I ain't told y'all where we're going. So we're gonna be messing around and we're gonna have a tent, be outside for a couple weeks. But I keep joking, but I'm like, if that's what it could come down to, we would definitely do that, because I know they ain't gonna let us stand here. So make sure you just still praying on that. We are working though. And I guess that was it. Whatever else I'll think of later. Oh, prayer for the New York crew.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done in earth,
thy will be done in earth,
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
Give us this day our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the
For
kingdom,
thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory forever.
and the glory forever.
Praise the Lord,
Praise the Lord,
for he is
for
good,
he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
Praise the Lord God of Israel,
Praise the Lord, the God of Israel,
for he is
for
good,
he is good,
and his mercy endures forever.
and his mercy endures forever.
These things we pray in Jesus' name,
These things we pray in Jesus' name.
the mighty one of Israel,
The mighty one of Israel,
the holy one of
the
Jacob,
Holy One of Jacob,
the King of kings
King of kings,
and Lord of lords.
Lord of lords.
Amen.
Amen. The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
The Lord bless thee and keep thee.
The Lord make his face shine upon thee,
The Lord make his face shine upon thee,
and be gracious unto thee.
and be gracious unto thee.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee,
The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee,
and give thee peace.
and give thee peace.
They shall put my name upon the children of Israel,
And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel,
and I will bless thee.
and he will bless thee.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
In Jesus'
In
name.
Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.